Hey everyone, in this video we're touring my absolute favorite tiny house so far. It's 34 feet long with a floor plan that maximizes comfort and functionality. I'm a huge fan of having a bedroom on the main floor and I love a big couch. So right off the bat, this house is winning me over in the comfort department. And in terms of functionality, it has loads of storage in the bedroom, a full-size pantry in the kitchen. They have a clever entrance setup, which is something I find is often missing in tiny houses, a big bathroom with a washer and dryer, and 2 full-size lofts for guests, kids, or even more storage. This is the Itsy Bitsy Tiny House on Vancouver Island, and we're going to give you a full tour. Let's check it out. This video is sponsored by Grammarly. Stay tuned, we'll give you more information about them at the end. When you first walk into the tiny house, one of the first things you notice is the classic interior design. So the white walls, combined with the dark wood floor and countertops, provides the perfect balance of bright and spacious with warm and cozy, which is great in a small space like this. There's also windows on all 4 sides of the house, a couple of skylights, and even a window in the front door, which is great for letting in more light, for ventilation, and for views. After spending some time in the tiny house, I noticed that each space has been carefully planned out for the person who will be living here or staying here. So for example, in the living room, there's this big 3-seater couch, which is great for stretching out on or having guests over. It's raised off the floor, so there is space where you could have storage underneath. And then directly across from the couch is the entertainment area. So there's a TV and a bookshelf below. It's nice having the TV here where it's directly in front of the couch and at a good eye level. Sometimes with tiny houses we see this being compromised and having it sort of off to the side or really up high, which can be awkward. So this does feel really functional, which is great. And over here in the entrance is a really cleverly thought out space. So there's hooks here for your coats, there's shelves here for your shoes, there's a little storage space by the door for mail and other knickknacks. And that's something that's often overlooked. Where are those everyday items going to live? So I love that your coats and your shoes can be sort of out of the way but easily accessible when you want to come in and out of the house. And another clever feature is the position of this ladder. So the way that they've put it in here, you never need to move it, pick it up and unhook it and rehook it. You can always access the loft without having to play around with the ladder. But it can still slide back and forth on this rail if you do need to get it out of the way. Normally I would show you the kitchen next, but I actually want to show you my favorite part of the tiny house, which is the main floor bedroom. There's a queen-size bed in here. They managed to fit in a closet on either side of the bedroom. So there's a closet for each person who's staying in here with drawers and a larger closet space above. And there's some really clever touches in here as well. So there's a reading light on both sides. There's plugs on both sides if you want to charge your devices. And they even have a couple of these little hooks, one on either side of the window, which is great for hanging up clothes, towels, things like that. Just another little touch that makes the space a lot more functional. There's also 3 opening windows in the bedroom, which adds a lot of light. I'm sure on a hot day you can open all the windows and get a great breeze in here. There's also quite a bit of ceiling height in this room, despite the fact that we're below a loft, so that's pretty surprising. And what's great about this bed is that it can be lifted up and there's loads of storage space underneath. So even though this is a pretty small bedroom, it packs in a lot of functionality, and you can get a bit of privacy with this space-saving pocket door. One of the downsides to having a bedroom on the main floor is obviously that you have to make the tiny house a little bit longer, but there are a lot of advantages as well. For one, you don't need a ladder, which is great for people who aren't comfortable or able to use one. Some people find lofts a little bit claustrophobic, so this gives you a little bit more space. And it's also nice to be able to get dressed standing up and not have to carry your laundry up and down a ladder. Over here is the kitchen. So you'll see the counter space is just on one side of the room. From left to right, we've got a little bit of counter space here and some storage below. There's a 4-burner propane cooktop and an oven. I always like seeing a fan above the stove because it helps exhaust moist air from cooking. In the center, there's the sink with counter space on either side for food prep or doing dishes. There's a set of drawers here for storing cutlery and other cooking utensils. Under the sink, there's loads of space for garbage, compost, and recycling. This drawer holds all of the plates, bowls, and glasses because you'll notice there aren't any overhead cabinets in this kitchen. And down here is a small dishwasher, which is pretty great if you love to cook and don't like doing dishes, or if you have a family and you just naturally use a lot of dishes. And on the other side of the kitchen, there's this drop leaf table. So when the leaf is down, you can sit 2 people comfortably on either side. And if you have guests, you can just flip it up like this and pull out a drawer slide to support it. And there's 2 extra stools stored underneath the table. This is another thing that I don't see very often in tiny houses, and I absolutely love it. It's a full-size floor-to-ceiling pantry. So down here are a couple of massive drawers. And then this top cupboard area is a pantry for storing all your food, your spices, your oils, basically everything you need can fit in here. As you can see, it's really deep, so there's a huge amount of storage in this pantry. And over here is a full-size fridge. It's up on a step, probably to get over a wheel well, which actually makes it really great because everything's at eye level. So this is pretty much a dream kitchen for somebody who loves cooking. And although this kitchen is small enough to fit in this tiny house, you still have everything you need and it's still really functional. And back here at the end of the tiny house is the big bathroom. And I should have done the entire tour standing here because the heated floor feels amazing. Another great thing about having a heated floor in the bathroom is that it dries your bath mat and your towels really quickly because it's radiant heat. The first thing you notice when you come in is the stacked washer and dryer. A lot of tiny houses we've seen have the combo, but there are issues with those. Apparently they can take a long time to dry. So it does seem like if you have a lot of laundry to do, or if you just don't want to have it running all the time, it is nice to have the 2 separate units. Behind the washer and dryer is the shower stall, and there's a couple of hooks here again for hanging towels. Just a simple shower curtain. Looks very spacious, and they've got it set up with the shampoo and conditioner built into a dispenser there. On the other side of the bathroom is a flush toilet and a vanity with a really small sink. Below there's lots of storage, and I really like this little basket system. If there are multiple people living here, everyone can have their toiletries in their own little spot. There's more storage behind the mirror, and there's additional storage here for towels and face cloths. There's another extractor fan in the bathroom for exhausting humid air from the shower and the washer and dryer. And down here is the first of 3 wall mount electric heaters. So there's 1 in the bathroom, 1 in the kitchen, and 1 in the bedroom. Above the main floor bedroom is the first loft. It's a full-size loft. It has loads of headspace so you can sit up in bed. And there's even a skylight that opens up there so you can get a great view of the sky. And you can also vent out any hot air that might accumulate up there on a hot summer day. Another thing I love about this loft is that there's a couple of night tables, 1 on either side of the bed, plus reading lights on either side as well, which make it a really functional loft. The bed looks really comfy. I think it's a queen size bed. There's a second TV up here if you want to watch movies in bed. And there's 3 windows in addition to the skylight for views, light, and ventilation. There's also a second full-size loft above the bathroom. Like I mentioned earlier, this tiny house measures 34 feet on the main floor, but it's actually almost 40 feet on the second floor because the lofts are bumped out several feet on either side. On the outside of the house, there's this overhang, which is great for protecting you from the rain when you're coming in or out of the house. And it's actually detachable. There's only a few bolts that you need to remove to take it down if you want to bring the tiny house on the road. They've also installed this rain chain and some gutters along both sides of the tiny house to help control the water running off the roof when it's raining. This area does get quite a bit of rain, so it's really good to have that in place. Along the bottom of the tiny house, they skirted it with this beautiful corrugated metal siding, and that helps keep rodents out, and it actually helps insulate below the tiny house during the colder months so that you don't have cold wind going underneath the house. The whole house is insulated with spray foam, and the owner said they haven't had any issues with staying warm in this tiny house during the winter. Back here you can see one of the loft bump outs that I mentioned. And down here is a built-in utility shed. So you swing this open. This is where the hot water on demand system is for the propane. And these are the water pipes, and you can see they're insulated here to keep them from freezing. Here on the back side of the tiny house, you can see this is the propane tank for the on-demand hot water system and the propane cooktop. This is where the water line comes into the house, and you can see it's insulated all the way along. And it also has heat tape around it to prevent it from freezing. And over here is where you plug in the tiny house for electricity, and this is 50 amps. I love all the little touches that were put into the build and the design that make living in a small space easier. Another great thing about this tiny house is where it's parked. So there's enough space around it to have a deck, a seating area, and even a little fire pit. And there's even a trail that brings you to a lake that's not too far away. The family that owns this house bought it from Mint Tiny Homes, and they lived in it for a year and a half with their 2 kids while they were building their permanent home. So the parents had the main floor bedroom, and each loft was a bedroom for one of the kids. If you want to find out more about this tiny house, you can follow them on Instagram at Itsy Bitsy Spider Lake. They're also renting this tiny house out on Airbnb right now, and we'll put a link to that in the description below as well. This video is sponsored by Grammarly, which is a digital writing assistant that helps me with my everyday writing. They have a browser extension that you can add to your web browser, and the free version corrects spelling and grammar mistakes just about anywhere you type. Emails, documents, reports, and more. However, upgrading to Grammarly Premium gives you helpful in-depth writing feedback, such as vocabulary and clarity suggestions. In the premium version, I personally love the vocabulary suggestions that Grammarly gives me about word choices in my emails and video introductions. I've noticed that I have a habit of saying things like "it's really nice" and "it's amazing" to describe things, so Grammarly is an easy way to make sure I express myself more clearly and creatively. To get the browser extension, you can go to grammarly.com/exploring and click the green button to add it to your browser and sign up for a free account. Their website will detect your browser automatically, so it's really easy to set up. If you want to give it a try, go to grammarly.com/exploring to sign up for a free account and get 20% off Grammarly Premium today. If you want to see more tiny house tours like this, be sure to subscribe to Exploring Alternatives and check out our playlists. Thanks so much for watching.